longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes. Call the show now at 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. American, all the chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the second day of December. Cheese and crackers, the second day of December. It's something on the board. And you lucky people, you're listening to Sound Bites. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And it's 6 minutes after the hour. We're going to be bringing you news, views, sometimes twice at once. Things to choose, nothing to lose. Kick off your shoes. Don't get the blues if you paid your dues.
I forgot to take it.
Here comes the news.
Yeah.
We're getting noises
I
today.
just hit the start broadcast button and thought maybe I had screwed something up.
It's going to be one of those days. All right, researchers in Google's threat analysis group have been as busy as ever with discoveries that have led to the disclosure of 3 high-severity zero-day vulnerabilities under active exploitation in Apple OSs and the Chrome browser. Apple on Thursday said it was releasing security updates fixing 2 vulnerabilities present in iOS, macOS, and iPadOS. Both of them reside in WebKit, the engine that drives Safari, and a wide range of other apps, including Apple Mail, the App Store, and all browsers running on iPhones and iPads. While the update applies to all supported versions of Apple OSs, Thursday's disclosure suggested in the wild attacks that are exploiting the vulnerabilities targeted earlier versions of iOS, those before iOS 16.7.1. So if you've got an older iOS that you cannot upgrade, you are vulnerable. One of the iOS flaws lets hackers obtain sensitive information. The other lets them execute malicious code. Neither Apple nor Google provided further details about the zero-day attacks. On Tuesday, Google said it was releasing an update that fixed 7 Chrome vulnerabilities, one of which was a zero-day, meaning Google learned of it after exploits were already available in the wild. Google provided no additional details related to the zero-day. Both the Apple and Google updates are being automatically pushed to affected devices. The updates are installed when users reboot their device or restart their browser. Users are likely to receive notifications if enough time passes without a restart. iOS, macOS, and iPadOS users can manually install updates by accessing system settings and selecting the General tab. To manually install the Chrome update, choose the 3 vertical dots at the top right of the window and choose Update. I know lots of you prefer not to install updates when they're released, but these seem to be pretty necessary. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that's Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is zero-day exploits in all Apple OSs and Chrome browser. Your choices are, I'm up to date, I'll update immediately, I'll get to it, Apple, Chrome, and going commando, baby. So far, we have 25 votes, and I'm up to date, congratulations, is in the lead, followed by Apple, Chrome, and you can vote in the poll. It's really easy to do. Just head on over to soundbytes.org. That is Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you. And you can vote in the poll. And, of course, you can also join in the the fun here. 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415. And like I said, oh, man, that's not right. What just happened there?
That's not right.
That's not right. Like I said earlier, lots of you don't always update right away.
Which,
I get it.
Yeah, for the most part, we say not to be the first one to do it because those the pioneers are the people with the arrows in their back.
Right.
And, give it a little time, see what, if it's working.
Right.
You can wait a few days and see if all of a sudden you start seeing, oh, don't do this, because...
But in this particular case, they are zero-day vulnerabilities. And again, people are always saying, well, I don't have anything. Why would anybody attack me? They're not attacking you. They're attacking everybody. Mm-hmm. Computers are doing the attacking. If they see your machine, they will attack it.
Yep.
It's that simple.
The internet background radiation. There are millions of bots and viruses and bad guys that scan the internet all the time looking for any vulnerable system. And whenever a new vulnerability is found like this, they'll go back and look at their records. Oh, this is a exploit on this thing. I'll find where that was in my list, and now I can go attack it.
Right. There are ways to tell what people are running on their machines. The operating system, the version of the operating system, what software they're running, the versions of the software,
Your MAC address.
all of that. They can find all of that, and they keep the records. So when an exploit like this comes out and says, "Oh, if you're running less than 10.7, and you're vulnerable, I'll just go through my list and find everybody running less than 10.7 and hit them. Boom, done."
There was a Cisco vulnerability found a couple weeks ago, and 20,000 routers were vulnerable.
Yep.
One of the things the vulnerability, the exploit does is patch the hole that came in, so no one else can get back in after them.
Nice.
So now we don't know if those routers were fixed with an update or if they were overtaken by the bad guys.
Right. That's some clever stuff right there. All right, to the phones. Our first caller is Larry from Rochester, New York. Hi, Larry. What's up?
Good afternoon, guys. I thought I would get in early this week. This week, a friend and I got into a robust discussion about whether or not real money, and when I say real, I'm talking about hard currency. You got a $20 bill in your pocket. Can you actually do anything with that on the Internet? And by the way, I hope he's listening to the real experts right now. So his contention was yes. Mine is no, because I don't see how you can use hard currency to do something on the Internet. I just can't see that that's actually possible.
Well,
you can.
I've read so many stories from call centers where someone calls in, I want to pay my bill with cash over the phone. If you can find a slot to put the money in, you're fine.
We'll take it.
Yeah, back in the old payphone days, you could do that because they would recognize when you put money in the phone.
Yeah, the quarters.
Well, Larry, the only way that would work is if, I mean, I guess if you, like, you called me and I scammed you, and I said, or rather, put a $20 bill in an envelope and mail it to this post office box.
Yeah.
That's about the only way that would work.
Yeah.
Well, and some of these stories I've read, the person says, "Well, I'll destroy the $20 bill so I can't spend it again. Just credit it to my account."
Or they'll tell the
folks,
or they'll tell the folks, "All right, we'll take that cash, go to the store, get these gift cards, and mail those to me."
Right. Read me the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. So, Larry, I think in this particular case, you win. There's.
I hate to gloat, but
sometimes you just gotta, Larry.
Yeah,
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
There's just the easiest way to explain it is there's no slot on the side of the computer to deposit cash.
There used to
It's
be,
not
but they
an
took out CD drives.
It's not an ATM where you can deposit money and get credit for it.
There have been if you hold the bill up to your camera, they can take a picture of it and then print their $20 bill at the other end, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And if you can convince someone to take that,
the paper wouldn't be any good.
I resisted the urge the other day. I at some store I handed them the $20 bill and they held it up to the light to see the. I resisted the urge to say I printed it this morning.
Well done, you. But there really is no way that I know of, at least, to do anything with actual cash money over the Internet.
Except put it into an ATM, which then over the Internet updates the bank balance,
Yeah, I didn't think so. Like I said, it was a fairly we didn't get angry, but it was a fairly robust discussion about technology, and I just could not see it. Now, he kept bringing up gambling, and I said, well, I don't care. Gambling's really got nothing to do with this. Anybody that will take a $20 bill will take it if they can.
But if you go to a gambling website, they're going to want digital currency.
Right.
You've got to convert your cash to digital currency. I suppose
and that was my argument.
If there's like a Western Union ATM function thingy where you put cash in and then it wires the money to some other Western Union, which is actually one of the worst ways to send money to someone because the other end doesn't need any authentication to pick up your money.
Wow.
Which is why Well, maybe that's what your friend is thinking. A lot of early scams where take this $1,000 to Western Union and Western Union that's become a verb to the other end where they will pick up your cash.
Right.
Because the cash was received at this end and they take cash out at the other end. But there's no security in who can pick up that cash at the other end. So pretty much never send anything Western Union.
All right.
Poor Western Union though.
Right.
That, as far as I'm concerned, settles it. I'll just close by saying I know one of the local news outlets did a big story this week about cyber attacks and being safe during the season using your computers. And I just thought it was a shame they didn't come to the real experts to do a little story about that.
Well, thank you.
And I will leave it at that. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Yep, thanks.
Bye-bye.
We had a question in the chat saying if I keep running our clone, the time to run a backup should get smaller? Question mark.
The time should be set. Every day. The time wouldn't get.
I think
smaller.
the amount of time it takes to run a backup is what he's saying.
That could be, yeah. Well, the time it takes to run a backup depends on how many changes you've made. So if you change one document, it will be really quick. If you update a giant, photo library, it might take longer.
Right. It depends a lot on how your backup is set. I haven't run our clone in a while, so I'm a little rusty on it. But there are multiple ways to run backups on almost any system. And if you run a full backup every time, it won't get shorter. If you run an incremental backup, that says back up all the stuff since the last time I backed up, which is generally much shorter than back up everything.
Yep.
So there's different ways to do that.
One of the things we see in the Apple world is that the Time Machine automatic backup system is configured to back up every hour. So you don't lose more than an hour's worth of work.
That's not bad. I prefer 1 minute.
And that backup doesn't take very long because you probably didn't really do much in an hour.
Right.
But it always seems to be when I'm trying to shut down the computer, the backup has just started. But
That's a law. That's a rule.
It's going to be quick because the only thing that's changed is probably a log file that doesn't need backed up.
Right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Ed from Ithaca, New York. Hi, Ed. What's up?
Hi, good morning, guys, and happy holidays.
Same to you.
Thank you. I have two quick questions and one maybe longer one. The quick questions are, first, when I go to a website, they ask for location, and you have a choice of no, or yes, no, or remember for 1 day. I don't want it to ever remember. So should I just press no or remember for 1 day?
Well, if you don't want it to access your location, then you would have to say no.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is generally a setting in the browser that you can say never ask for location ever.
Oh.
And then it will stop asking anytime. The asking for location is a security precaution that most of the browsers have added now. It used to be that websites would get your location without telling you. Typically speaking, you're searching to buy something. The search wants to find the store nearest to you to buy it at.
Right.
So that's why it needs your location.
Okay.
But in some instances, websites don't need my location, and it doesn't have to have it. So I would say no. So if you go back into your browser settings, I wonder if I can find a link to post that.
Yeah.
To have your browser never ask for location.
In Chrome, you would go to the three dots, select settings, and the easiest way to find it, trust me, is to just search for location.
Yeah.
And one of the choices is site settings. And under that, one of the choices there is sites can ask for your location or not.
Yep. It's
Okay.
similar in Safari. There's a location preference, and that goes site by site. If you want to turn off location completely on the Mac, you'd go to System Settings and remove Safari, Chrome, Firefox, and remove your browser from the location services, so it never even has access to location at all.
Now, you need to be aware that can screw some things up.
Yeah. When you're trying to get directions somewhere,
Right.
it doesn't go. Well, so now sometimes the directions will still work because your Wi-Fi location is known.
Right.
Yeah, we had someone call the other day. They were trying to drive somewhere, and their phone said they were in Washington, D.C. Well, because that's where your cell connection hits the internet.
Right.
So turn on location services so your phone knows where it is here to give you directions.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will sort through the browsers then. Second question is, on my PC, I have Avast and Microsoft Defender. Is one better than the other? They do different things.
You've got what, Mike? MS Defender and what?
Avast.
Avast.
They mostly do the same thing. Depends
Yeah,
on
you
which.
can get rid of Defender.
Well, it depends on which Avast package you have. Some of them do more than just antivirus. I've kind of moved to. I sort of tend to like Microsoft Defender because it's already built into the core of Windows, and it's not trying to hook into the core like a third-party program.
Yeah, but they don't update it enough.
Yeah, the biggest issue is your behavior about accepting cookies, accepting notifications from websites, believing malicious ads. Yeah, so that's almost a bigger issue than bad things getting in from your browser.
Right. Either one is fine, but you don't need both.
Sorry, in any case, I don't need both of them.
Right. One or the other is fine.
Okay, great.
But
Now,
that you should then add a anti-malware program like Bytes and Super Anti-Spyware separately from antivirus.
I do have those. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So now a different question, horse of a different color. I have an iPod, and I have the Apple Music program on my PC, and I've got all that working okay. But when I go to on my Mac, I have that working okay. When I go to my PC, I cannot copy and paste MP3s from the PC onto the iPod. I used to be able to, but I can't anymore.
As a concession to the record industry, you can only sync an iPod to one computer. If you plug it into a different computer, it wants to erase it to sync it to that computer.
Okay. Well,
so you can use other programs, but you can't use iTunes.
Okay. I used to be able to just copy and paste into the playlist, copy from my downloads file and paste it into the playlist on the iPod.
Well, you may have been able to do it from the music list, but you shouldn't have been able to do it from downloads.
Oh, I could, but now I can't. So, okay.
So they fixed that bug.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now I have to put it onto a flash drive and bring it over to the Mac and do it.
Yeah, probably that's the way to, or if they're both connected to the same network in your home, you can move them over that wire too.
The other option is to subscribe to iTunes in the cloud, which will then sync all your music to all of your devices that's logged into the same Apple ID.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all your help.
Thanks, Ed.
Right.
Yeah, in the early days of the iPod, apparently some music executive thought of that, and so if I bring my iPod to your computer, I can steal all your music. No, you plug it into a different computer, it wants to erase the iPod to sync to only that one computer at a time, which is annoying when you have multiple computers yourself. It will still only sync to one computer at a time. So the other there we go. The other alternative for him is he can use iTunes Music library sharing, so he can share his library between his computers on the same network.
Yep.
And so by copying the music from one computer to the other computer through the iTunes library, then it will show up on the Mac to be synced to the iPod.
Nice. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Mark from Greece, New York. What's up, Mark?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Peachy, how are you?
I'm doing well, actually. I wanted to tell you that if people are on Spectrum, and they have Spectrum Internet, they have access to F-Secure through them as a security suite, other than it doesn't have a firewall, but of course you've got Windows Firewall. F-Secure I've been running it for 2 years now, and it doesn't hamper my computer at all. It runs smoothly.
Yeah, it's pretty good system.
Last I knew, Frontier also used F-Secure because it's an F.
Right. Or some other F word.
Yeah.
One of them.
Well, some of the other antiviruses want to make you want to use the other F word.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
That's a good tip, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, and it runs smoothly. Another tip with iTunes. I found that if you want to go between computers, you can use Media Monkey. It syncs with your iPod.
Oh,
cool.
Nice.
Just a few little tweaks. It's all on the internet, but it's not hard. It's very easy. If I can do it, everybody can do it.
Yeah, I've heard that before too.
So easy, a kid could do it.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Media Monkey works very well with it, because I found that my iTunes now is just, it's not working properly with my iPod anymore, and I'm stubborn. I love my iPod to this day. It's the only Apple product I own, but I love it.
Well, nice.
And it sounds better than my phone.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yep.
So that's another solution to go between computers, is using Media Monkey Media Player.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye-bye.
Yeah, I just posted a link for both Apple Home Sharing and the Media Monkey.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a bug in the early versions of Apple Home Sharing, is that it would share to the internet, not just your LAN.
Nice.
So if you knew your IP address at home, you could see your home music at work.
That's nice.
Which was nice, but that meant anyone could see.
Anybody on the internet could see it, yeah.
Which is not nice.
Yeah, no, that's...
So it looks like Media Monkey is available for Windows and Android, but not Mac. So if you're in a mixed platform family, that won't help. So Apple's home sharing does work across Windows and Mac, but not Android.
Right. But there are ways that you can share all of your entertainment media.
Yeah, a lot of people will use a NAS, and many of the network-attached storage drives have an iTunes media server built into them. That then every computer sees that one location of media to play it from, and if you rip a CD on one computer, it goes into the library on the NAS, and the other computers automatically see it.
And then there are programs like Jellyfin and Plex and Kodi and things like that for both music and movies and everything else. So
yeah, a lot of the NASs will have Plex built in.
Yep.
Or you can build your own NAS with Plex.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that this week. Life intervened, but I was looking at doing that with a Raspberry Pi and a couple of terabyte drive and throwing my stuff on there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. If you're on the line, stay on the line. If you're not on the line, why not? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 800-790-0415. We've got some folks on the line, so we'll get to you as soon as we can, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Sound Bytes on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbites.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. Tsunami warnings are in effect across the Pacific after a major earthquake struck the Philippines Saturday. The U.S. Geological Survey put the preliminary magnitude at 7.6. The earthquake struck near the island of Mindanao late Saturday night local time. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says waves up to 3 feet could hit parts of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Japan. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is blaming Hamas for violating a week-long truce in the war against Israel. Blinken says Hamas began firing rockets and staged a deadly attack at a bus stop in Jerusalem in violation of the agreement. Israel resumed airstrikes and combat operations in southern Gaza after the ceasefire collapsed yesterday. The federal judge overseeing former President Trump's election subversion case will not dismiss the charges against him. The judge ruled Friday Trump does not have absolute immunity for his actions following the 2020 election and may be subject to investigation and prosecution. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Open wide, here comes the airplane. This is Sandra Tsinglow with the Lowdown on Science. Bribing, begging, bargaining. We've tried everything to get our kids to eat their greens. But could it just be a matter of time? Enter Jana Berg and colleagues from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. They provided almost 40 elementary and middle schoolers with lunch for a month. Each day, the kids had either 10 or 20 minutes to eat. The scientists weighed the students' food before and after lunch to track how much they ate. Results? During the longer lunch period, kids ate almost 14 percentage points more veggies. They also ate 11 percentage points more fruit and wasted less food. As all parents know, kids are more likely to reach for the mac and cheese before the veggies. Extending lunch gives them time to finish their favorites and get to the greens. 10 more minutes could give every kid a chance to join the Clean Plate Club. Wonder if that would convince my boss to extend my lunch break.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California, Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation. On the web at LOHDOWNonscience.org.
This is Sandra. Follow us on Twitter at LOHDOWN.
'Tis the season to get in the holiday spirit. So if you're in the mood for Christmas music, get it now at jazz901.org and our free mobile app.
Merry Christmas!
Jazz 90.1, Jingle Jazz Radio.
Now you can explore Rochester and surrounding areas with a member card as your guide when you make a gift of $90.10 or more. We'll send you a Jazz 90.1 member card, then enjoy savings at hundreds of restaurants and attractions near you. So what are you waiting for? Call and become the newest member of Jazz 90.1 today. Call 966-5299 or go online at jazz901.org.
Her words weren't written under peaceful shade, but under fear for her life.
Everyone has inside a piece of good news.
For 2 agonizing years, she worried about being caught by the Nazis.
The good news is that you don't know how great you can be.
Though her story ended early, her words live on.
I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains.
With her positive outlook, Anne Frank continues to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
A veteran's hope. Where are you hiding? I search for you in the seconds, the minutes of each and every day. Hear me as I call out to you. Welcome me home. Alone we stood, divided we fell. No longer. Now we choose to make the connection. Our new mission lies within. Visit maketheconnection.net to learn more.
And now your Jazz 90.1 weather.
An overcast Saturday ahead for Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes, with a few scattered showers. The high temperature in the upper 40s, with the breeze coming in out of the north. And we'll find a cloudy sky going into your Saturday night as well. There'll be a few showers around during the course of the evening. The overnight low temperature near 40. On Sunday, look for rain to develop as we work our way through the afternoon. The breeze comes in out of the northeast. We'll find high temperatures into the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got cloudy skies. It's 43 degrees at the airport and 42 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
It's a marshmallow world in the winter when the snow comes to cover the ground. It's time for
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
At 35 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bites. And before we get back to the phones, I should read this news because it is actually pretty important.
That wasn't even a short song. I mean, a blip. That was the full-length song, 5 minutes.
Nice.
It's December, though, so it's okay to play Christmas music now.
Yeah.
Not in September when they started.
You're right. 2 newly discovered Bluetooth security flaws allow attackers to hijack the connections of all devices using Bluetooth 4.2 to 5.4 inclusive. That is, all devices between late 2014 and now. AirDrop is a particular risk on Apple devices. 6 separate exploits have been demonstrated, allowing both device impersonations and man-in-the-middle attacks. Bluetooth is intended to be a secure form of wireless communication with a number of security features. However, there are many different generations of the Bluetooth core specification, which support different levels of security. That means that the degree of protection you have depends on the Bluetooth version supported by the oldest of the devices involved in a connection. The strength of the session keys is one key factor in which level of protection you get, and that's where the problem lies. Researchers have developed 6 new attacks, collectively named bluffs, that can break the security of Bluetooth sessions, allowing for device impersonation and man-in-the-middle attacks. Bluffs exploits 2 previously unknown flaws in the Bluetooth standard related to how session keys are derived to decrypt data. Basically, your device is tricked into using a very weak security key, which an attacker can trivially break. This enables 2 types of attacks. Device impersonation, where you think you're sending data to a known device, airdropping something to a friend, for example, when you are really connected to an attacker's device. And, of course, man-in-the-middle attacks, where you're sending data to the intended device, but the data are intercepted by an attacker, so they get a copy too. All devices, listen to this carefully, all devices are vulnerable. Because the flaws are in the actual Bluetooth architecture, all devices running Bluetooth 4.2, introduced in December of 2014, to Bluetooth 5.4, introduced in February of 2023, are vulnerable. This includes the latest iPhones, iPads, Macs, Androids, name it. There is nothing users can do to fix these vulnerabilities. It needs device manufacturers to make changes to the way they implement Bluetooth security, rejecting the lower security modes used to communicate with older and cheaper devices. It is unclear whether patches can be released for existing devices. There are steps you can take to minimize risk. Best practice would be to keep Bluetooth turned off when mobile, except when it's needed. This would include activating it when using Bluetooth headphones and deactivating it again afterwards. This would clearly be inconvenient, so a more practical precaution for most would be to avoid sending anything sensitive via Bluetooth in a public place. This includes airdropping personal photos or documents containing personal information. How secure are you feeling about Bluetooth? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, toll-free 800-790-0415.
Man in the Middle, that was a Beatles song.
Yeah. And now it's an attack. They fling records at you.
The attack forces the creation of a weak session key.
Yeah.
The protocol shouldn't allow that.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And they're saying that the protocol should be changed to prevent allowing a weak. The problem is, if I've got a 2-year-old iPad or whatever, and you've got a 1-year-old iPad, we would not be able to connect because my key would probably be weaker than yours.
Right.
So if the thing says don't take a weaker key, we can't communicate anymore. It completely breaks Bluetooth.
Yeah, it becomes a downgrade attack where the bad guy says, "Oh, I don't accept those stronger keys. You have to give me a weak key, and then I can break in."
Right. And the same, like my hearing aids talk to my phone through Bluetooth.
Yep.
If I leave that on, anybody can attack me.
Imagine strange noises in your head.
No, I don't have to imagine those.
They're for real.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so be careful what you use Bluetooth for and what you're doing with your Bluetooth.
Even Apple's AirDrop. I've been at public concerts, and people are airdropping me photos all the time, and I have to yell "Wrong, Steve."
Yeah, right.
My phone is named Steve's phone, just like everyone else. So
Right.
I have to turn off Bluetooth.
Yep.
To stop people from sending me their private photos.
Yep. You got to be aware of who you're really sending it to. I get things all the time. Hey, Nick, take a look at this. Wrong, Nick. I don't know you, and I'm entirely uninterested in whatever you just sent me. But it happens all the time. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Dan from Brighton, New York. What's up, Dan?
Hey, how you doing today, everybody?
Peachy, how are you?
Yeah, okay. A friend of mine gave me a Android phone that they would like to try to recover deleted SMS messages from. Is it possible? And if so, how would you go about doing it?
Yes and no. If those messages were... Man, this is hard. Okay. If those messages were in Google's messages system, they may, and I emphasize may, be backed up in their Google account. It depends on how they set up their SMS to back up or to sync. If it's backed up, they would be there. If it's synced, they would be deleted when they got deleted from the phone. The same is true of this if it's, for example, a Samsung phone. Samsung has their own messaging system, which they prefer, and if you don't change it, that's the one you're using on a Samsung phone. And you may or may not have it set up to back up to the network. So the short answer is probably you can't. The long answer is if they were using Google's messaging system and they set it up properly, you can.
There are programs that claim to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Make sure they have a free trial mode before you get into it.
Yeah.
I use one on for iPhones called iExplorer that does a pretty good job of finding things that were like just deleted 5 seconds ago.
Right, and that's the other thing. If it's been a very short amount of time, it may well still be in cache somewhere on the phone. But if it's been a day, a week, a month, the likelihood goes down significantly.
Yeah, not likely.
That's one of the reasons we tell people all the time, back up, back up, back up. And it's not just your computer, it's your phone. You can set, you can go into your phone and back stuff up. You can, if you're using your Google account and you're using the Google messaging system, you can go online and say, back up all my messages. They should be, that should be in Google Takeout. Takeout.google.com. But you have to set that up.
Okay. I doubt that was done. These messages go back to April, May, June, I think.
Yeah, that's highly unlikely at this point.
Okay. You mentioned the Samsung. It is the Samsung phone. Where would I find the Samsung messaging system?
Oh, yeah. How long has it been since I've looked at a Samsung phone? It's either going to be in the messaging app, in the settings of the messaging app, or it's going to be in the settings of the phone itself. And I don't remember which on a Samsung phone. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And isn't it both the Samsung version and the Google version are named Messages, and they have a very similar icon?
Well, that's the other part of the problem.
Yeah.
They are indeed the same name and very similar icons. So
just different colors.
Right.
Looks like Samsung Messages is blue.
Yeah.
Okay. And second follow-up, I'm trying to use something called Disk Drill, and it sees the Samsung Android phone, and I'm getting a message that I need to enable USB debugging, and I can't seem to find that on the phone. Where would that be hiding?
What model phone is it?
It's a black one.
Thank you. That's so helpful.
Usually when you plug in the USB for the first time, it asks if you want to be in mass storage mode or not. Debugging mode
or charging
might be different. Let me see. Oh, here you have to go. You have to go into development status in settings under development and then USB debugging. Let me post this link.
Right, you have to become a developer.
Okay, I'm looking in settings. I don't see one of the subtopics being developer.
It's under About the Phone, and then you go down to the build number, and you tap it 7 times, and that turns on developer mode. So then you return to the previous screen and scroll down, and you'll find the developer options near the bottom now.
Okay.
And then in the developer options is USB debugging mode.
Right.
Okay.
All righty.
I will be standing on one foot while I'm doing this.
Exactly right. Spitting jelly beans while you're at it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's not something normal people should ever need to get into, so it's hidden in there pretty bad.
Well, and that's the thing, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the harder, the more you shouldn't do it, the harder they tend to make it to do.
Yeah. And that's for your own safety.
And that's fair, except when you're needing to do it for fixing reasons, and I get that. I do. It's
should come with big warning signs or caution before you start attempting to do this.
Right.
Be aware.
But that's one of the things I like about Linux. Whenever I try to do something that is potentially stupid, I have to put in my password.
Are you sure?
Yeah, basically it's a thing that essentially says you're about to do something phenomenally stupid, or at least dangerous. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you awake enough? Are you ready to do this?
You're not under the influence?
If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're just making that one last change before you go to bed, do not. Do not. Or have a backup.
Someone's always commenting that there should be a setting for drunk texting where it doesn't really send.
Right. Right.
So when you wake up in the morning, you get a message, did you really mean to send these messages at 3 a.m.? And you can say, no, thank God, no.
Yeah, right, exactly. The reality is that they're very powerful devices, but that means we can get into a whole lot of trouble in a myriad of ways. And we're very, and we need to be very wary of how we use these devices. In particular, when you look at things like, what Dan was talking about, deleting messages. Yes, accidents can happen, and I do understand that. But people tend to, it goes back to being click happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you want to delete these messages? Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
scenario.
Oh, wait, I didn't want to do that. Well, it's too late now.
You got to think before you click.
Right, because a lot of things like phones don't have an undo.
Nope.
So you've got to be more aware and more careful of what you're doing. I keep saying you cannot have enough backups. And I back up constantly. And I got that when I got my new phone. For some reason, my messages did not come over. I've got some messages from friends who have passed. I have some, lovely messages, voice messages and stuff from people that I want to keep. Well, luckily, I have them all backed up.
Yeah.
So I still have them. They're not on my phone anymore, which is fine, but I've still got them.
It's just like photos. If it's really important to you, take the time to back them up because like you said, on a phone, once you click, delete, it's gone.
We've got so many stories where people didn't understand the question. Just last week, a customer asked us to wipe the hard drive after we finished a hardware repair. So we called her up. Are you sure you want us to wipe the hard drive and erase all the data on it? Well, yeah, that's what I said. Too many people don't know when they say wipe the hard drive, that means you're going to lose all your data.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You told us to wipe the hard drive. Where's my pictures? You told us to wipe the hard drive.
Yep. Well, I
meant with a cloth.
Matter of fact,
well, then they'd really be gone too, right?
Was it Dell support used to do that to troubleshoot for folks, and they'd get them, trying to troubleshoot,
Yeah.
and then they'd have them format the drive.
Yeah.
Yep.
And reinstall Windows.
And
that solved the problem
and do the
100% of the time.
And did the recovery. So all of a sudden, all right, there's my Windows back. Where's all my files? Well, it wiped the drive, and then it's put you're just back to basic Windows. But I don't have my files.
You didn't tell me to back up. Or,
Yep.
I didn't know what backup meant, so I just said yes.
You need to take responsibility. You need to back up. And I see that all the time. We see it with photos. We see it with messages. We see it with everything. People sometimes remember to back up their computers. Very few people remember to back up their phones. And the reality is your phone is a lot more vulnerable than your computer. Your phone can fall into the toilet. Your phone can fall into the water. Your phone can drop onto the ground and shatter. And just because you meant to back it up later today doesn't help any.
Well, it's just like last night. I went out to dinner. I was working on my computer. I never turn my computers off. I just turn off the monitors. Well, I come back upstairs and I go to turn the monitor on. And all of a sudden, I got this fluorescent green screen. What the heck? So, all right, hold the button down on the Dell and have it power down. Hit the button to turn it back on. And all of a sudden, it's doing the Dell logo. And all of a sudden, it says, inspecting system.
Never a good sign.
Then it comes back, beep, 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 beep. And then there's this Q code at the bottom and this other warning, no hard drive found.
Oh, boy.
So sure enough, I pulled out the hard drive, and it was a 512 meg
gig.
A gig from
Kingston.
King Fast out of China.
I've never even heard of King
Me
Fast.
neither. So I immediately went online, went to Amazon, and they got a terabyte hard drive, which will be here. But main thing I was trying to get at too, it doesn't bother me. It does in the fact that now I got to redo that machine, reinstall Windows, reinstall my programs. But the beauty of it is I don't have anything else stored on it other than the programs.
Right.
I log into my Google account and bam, that's there. I reinstall NPass. Boom, all my passwords are there. I have lost only the programs and the time that I now have to take to reinstall. My data, my documents, my photos, or anything else is backed up in 3 different places. So it's like, yeah, it's a pain in the butt. But hey, at least I'm not sitting there and oh, shoot, I lost all this and that. No.
Right. Well, and that's why we keep saying, if you've got whatever phone you've got, you have a certain amount of free storage for photos and things on the internet. And if you're using a Pixel phone, you have unlimited free storage for now. If you are an Amazon Prime customer, you have unlimited photo storage. Why aren't you using it?
Well, even if
there's a million people. Let me finish. There's a million people out. There's a billion people out there using Amazon Prime, either because they love the free shipping or they want the TV shows or whatever the reason is.
Yep.
You get the perk of unlimited photo storage direct from your phone. Why are you not using it? All you have to do is download the Amazon Photos app, turn it on and say go, and you are done.
Yeah, well, Google, just by getting an email address, which most folks do, you like say billions of people have,
that's right.
Automatically with that email address comes 15 gig of free storage.
Yep.
That's backed up on the cloud. So all your documents and all this other stuff, the messages and everything else, you could have been uploading to that free storage and not have to worry whether the machine crashes.
Right. And we have a story about that after the next break. We'll talk about Google accounts. But there's a lot you can do to back stuff up for your own peace of mind that is automatic. The Amazon Photos thing and the Google Photos thing, those are automatic. You take a picture and it automatically backs it up, in my case, to 2 separate places.
Yep.
if both Google and Amazon lose my photos, there's probably something more important to me going on in the world than that.
Well, that's one thing my wife couldn't get over, because I took this picture for her on my phone, and she goes, well, how am I going to get it? Boom, I went over to my photos. Here it is. You want me to send it to you? How'd it get up there? I said, it just automatically goes up there. Yeah, please. Boom, emailed it to her, and she mailed it on off. And it's like,
what I got a kick out of is most of the online photo services, and even now the apps in your computers will have like a 30-day deleted library.
Right.
So after you intentionally delete a photo, you have 30 days to undelete it because it's in another folder somewhere.
Yep.
Because it's always that, I didn't mean to delete that one. You're deleting a bunch of them and you miss unselecting the one in the middle.
Yeah. One of the things I discovered, and it's sneaky, but I like it, is Google Keep.
Oh, I love Keep.
Most people don't realize that when they delete something, they're not deleting it most of the time. They're archiving it. So it's in a separate folder, but it's still there. Oh, I lost this. It's gone. My wife did this. Oh, my God, I accidentally deleted yada, yada, yada. So I went into her Google Keep. I opened up archives. Here it is. I unarchived it. There it is. I'm a hero.
I just did it last week. One of the tasks within Keep I have, because, if you go in the doctor's office at our age, they go, okay, what medications are you taking?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Pull out my phone, open up Keep. There's all my meds. I put it in there, took the time to write the note.
That's a long list.
Did the morning and the afternoon, or the evening ones, what I'm taking, and the dosage, and it's all there. Here you go. I had accidentally deleted it. I don't know how, but I went back to the archives, pulled it back in.
There it is. Because you didn't delete it, you archived it, which is great.
Big savior, because I hate, you taking this? I don't know. Here.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
75.
The other thing is they have different names.
Oh, yeah.
I may know it by the generic name.
Crestor versus.
Yeah. I may know it by the generic name, and they know it. Rather, I know it by the not generic name, the trademark name of whichever company is selling it, but they know it by the generic name.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's the same thing. Well, how was I supposed to know that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's apples to apples, but just a different
I can't
brand.
even pronounce them anyway.
Right.
Oh, some of them. It's like.
But yeah, so you have a multitude of ways to back up. You have a multitude of ways to back up painlessly. And I'm a huge advocate of that. Let the computer do the thing it's good at, which is all the rote stuff, right? ROTE, rote stuff. All the stuff that is just, once you've set it up, just let it run forever by itself. And one of those things is backing up photos. And of course, in Google Photos, you can share photos.
Mm-hmm.
So I am sharing my entire photo library with my wife and my daughter.
My stepson shares all the photos that he takes of our grandson.
Right.
We're there, and he's constantly mailing them out, and I get a little notice, and there it is, and scroll through it. It's great, be able to have it.
Yep. And it's automatic, because once you've set it up to work, it works. So, all right. That music tells us we are done with the first hour of this show, but do not despair. There's another hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe coming your way. That would be Sound Bytes, right here on the truly great and truly grateful to you that we are member supported, Jazz 90.1. Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ, that's 966-5299, toll free 800-790-0415. And we will be back, take a little bio break, get a little something to eat or drink, but come back for another hour of the longest running computer show in the known universe. That's Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you on the other side.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester. a public service of the Greece Central School District. Jazz 90.1.
Celebrating 50 years on the air in Rochester.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. Tsunami warnings are in effect across the Pacific after a major earthquake struck the Philippines Saturday. The U.S. Geological Survey put the preliminary magnitude at 7.6. The earthquake struck near the island of Mindanao late Saturday night local time. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says waves up to 3 feet could hit parts of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Japan. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is blaming Hamas for violating a week-long truce in the war against Israel. Blinken says Hamas began firing rockets and staged a deadly attack at a bus stop in Jerusalem in violation of the agreement. Israel resumed airstrikes and combat operations in southern Gaza after the ceasefire collapsed yesterday. The federal judge overseeing former President Trump's election subversion case will not dismiss the charges against him. The judge ruled Friday Trump does not have absolute immunity for his actions following the 2020 election and may be subject to investigation and prosecution. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by the great courses How to Grow Anything DVD series hosted by Melinda Myers. The Great Courses How to Grow Anything series consists of 4 DVD courses that provide gardening tips and information on food gardening, landscape design and care, container gardening, flower, tree, and shrub care, and more. More information is available at melindamyers.com. That's melindamyers.com.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by Poinsettia poinsettias. Poinsettias come in a variety of colors from white to shades of pink and red. Poinsettias are compact in size and can be used as holiday decor on tabletops and mantels or as a festive centerpiece. Poinsettias can be found at garden centers, big box stores, and other plant retailers. More information at poinsettia.co. That's PRINCETTIA.co.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Hey, 3rd and 4th graders. It's time to grab your ski gear and friends because once again, 3rd graders and 4th graders are going to ski and ride free in New York State. Skiing and snowboarding is a great way to help keep your child in shape. And with the Ski New York Ski and Ride Passport, any child in the 3rd or 4th grade is entitled to a free lift ticket with a valid adult ticket purchase. The passport can be used up to 2 times at each of the 25-plus participating ski areas, with a one-time registration fee. This season, more ski areas than ever before are accepting the passport during holiday periods. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for your Ski and Ride Passport today. For more information, visit iskiny.com or the I Love New York website at iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALLNYS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. It's easy to love New York.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Think about your mother, your sister, your girlfriend. 1 in 6 women is a victim of sexual assault. Now think about your father, your brother, your best friend. Men are victims too. Rape can happen to anyone. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, encouraging you to call the National Sexual Assault Hotline to learn how to support someone you love. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Flu season is still active, and you can fend off the flu with 5 easy action items. Start with avoiding close contact with sick people and stay at home if you are sick. Secondly, wash your hands frequently for 20 seconds at a time. Thirdly, remember to cover your coughs or sneezes. Also, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and your mouth. And the #1 action item, get your flu shot. This message brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Anthem Foundation.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Soundbites, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbites.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 5 minutes after the hour, we're hurtling headlong into the second hour of the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes.
And to Rob Linton out there, you got me good because he knows how much I hate that stupid song.
Marshmallow World.
Yes. When I worked at Home Depot, starting, and it always started the week before Thanksgiving, they started playing all their Christmas songs.
Sure.
Now, they had blocks of music, and that used to drive us nuts while we're working in the store from 6 to 2. They had like 5 different versions of that song playing throughout the hour. And we just heard that for 8 straight hours. We hated the song.
Which
I
is
still
why you
do
played
to
it
this
here.
day. Yes, and just to get back at me.
Yep. Well, that's... The heck was all that? Yeah.
Dean Martin.
There you go. So we were talking earlier about creating an account to save your data, and you need to be aware of a thing, though. Do you have a Google account you created solely as a place to receive all those emails about Cyber Monday deals? Or maybe an account you made years ago with a less than mature address that you haven't used since? Or created an account just to save 15 gigs of data? If you don't want to lose access to it, you want to take action fast. As of yesterday, Google began removing accounts it deemed as inactive. We reported this back when the company announced the decision in May, explaining at the time that it was part of an update to its inactive account policies. In a blog post, Ruth Cricelli, the vice president of product management for Google, said that accounts that haven't been used are most likely to be compromised. This is because forgotten or unattended accounts often rely on old or reused passwords that have been compromised, haven't had two-factor authentication set up, and receive fewer security checks by the user, she wrote. Our internal analysis shows abandoned accounts are at least 10 times less likely than active accounts to have two-step verification set up. That's the thing where you get a thing on your phone or whatever that says, type in this code. In order to protect users, Google said it will delete accounts and their content starting in December. According to Google, an account is considered inactive. Pay attention to this. Is considered inactive if it hasn't been accessed across the company's products, that's Gmail, Docs, Drive, Meet, Calendar, and Photos, in 2 years.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So if you saved stuff 2 years ago and never went back, it's probably gone. Google said it will be taking a phased approach as it deletes inactive accounts, starting with accounts that were created and never used again. So if you created a Gmail account in like 2020 just to get a coupon or 3 months of free access to a streaming service, then never logged in again, it's likely to be an early victim. Multiple notifications were already sent to accounts at risk of being deleted, but of course, if you don't log into that account, you don't receive the notification.
You don't know.
But if you did receive any of those notifications or want to save your account, you can. Google says that as long as you've logged into your Google account or any of the other services using that account information, your account is safe from deletion. If you haven't yet signed into the account you're hoping to save, you'll want to do that immediately and hope that they haven't gotten around to deleting you yet. It's only personal accounts that are being deleted, according to Google. If your account is linked to an organization, like your workplace or college, it won't be deleted during this process. Not sure if your account is affected? Simply put, if you have used your Gmail or other Google products at some point this year, you're safe. If you can't remember the last time you used it and don't want to lose it, you may want to log in now before it's too late. So how many Google accounts do you have? Give us a call. 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415.
Google Workspace accounts they consider inactive after 1 year.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten notices for some of our customers that we set up their Google Workspace account and you haven't used the account since then. And okay, fine, if they're not going to use it.
Well, exactly right. And look, this is completely understandable. On the one hand, hard drives are cheap and Google has more hard drives than God, and I understand that. But on the other hand, you still have to manage all of those accounts. And if an account hasn't been used in 2 years, the likelihood that somebody really cares what's in it is very low.
I'm surprised they're waiting that long. I mean, a year.
Right.
If you haven't used it in a year,
right,
evidently it's not that important.
Well, right. Well, that's 2 years. So
yeah,
it's even less important.
They're being very gracious.
Right. And all you have to do is log into that account or write a Google Doc or save a photo to it or, open up a calendar, whatever you want to do.
Watch a YouTube video.
In that account.
Yep.
And you got another 2 years.
Well, like I said, I think I've got 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5. And I back up other things to 3 of them. So that's constantly. I just got a little routine. Send this stuff up to here, to here, to here. The other 2, my wife's photo stuff.
Yep.
The current ones.
It wouldn't hurt you to log into the Gmail of those accounts once and twice a year.
I'm using them all the time because of emails and that. I use certain ones.
So you're good then.
Oh, yeah.
And Google doesn't care how many accounts you have. They just care that they're actually being used.
Yeah.
And there are applications, and they're listed in our link list of programs that will consolidate all of your online storage space. So you may have, let's say, you've got 3 Google accounts. It's 45 gigs worth of data in 3 15-gig segments. But there are programs that will consolidate that, so it looks like you've got a 45-gig hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So you can easily save and retrieve data from those without a problem. But be aware that if you have not logged into an account in 2 years, it is very likely that account is going to go away unless you do something about it. And of course, the other end of that is about security. That's why they're doing this. We talked about 2-factor authentication. That's something which is your password, and something you have, which is generally your phone. So that's where you get the we send a code to your phone, type it in. That business, that's 2-factor authentication, and I can't. People get so annoyed. Oh, I have to have my phone. When were you ever without your phone? Tell me when you were without your phone. Not even in the bathroom are you without your phone. In the shower, you're without your phone. But you're generally not logging on to anything when you're in the shower anyway. So shut up. You tell I'm doing Uncle Dave today. It's
contagious.
It's contagious. I have Uncle Dave syndrome.
All the years we've been
that's it.
doing this show that it rubs off.
That's it. But yeah, so be aware that if you have an old account, frankly, for most of you, if you have an old account, you don't even remember. I'll be honest with you. Most of you don't keep track of anything because you're not using a password manager. You don't remember you've got an old account. So it'll just go away. You'll never even see it again. It'll be quiet. It'll be peaceful, off in the distance, gone. But for some of you who remember that you've got these accounts, log into them once in a while. That's all you have to do. Once every 2 years. Set a reminder. If only you had something you carried around in your pocket that had a calendar in it where you could set reminders. And you can do that. And while you do that, we'll go back to the phone and we'll talk to Bill from what the heck is going on here? Leave me alone. We're going to go back to the phones and we're going to talk to Bill from Greece, New York. Hiya, Bill. What's up?
Oh, I thought you were going to leave me alone.
Yeah, no, it wasn't you. It was weird stuff happening on my screen.
Oh, at least it's not sounds in your head.
It's been that.
Oh, that's been doing that right along.
What's up?
Yeah, it's called Dave. Anyway, I understand that YouTube is going to start blocking ad blockers for any browser based on Chromium.
Yes.
And if you got Firefox, that's supposed to get through. And I was reading that you can use a Raspberry Pi and set a Pi hole that you can block ads at your router.
Yeah.
Can you also put something in your router to block ads?
Well, it depends on your router, of course. A lot of them don't have something like that. But generally speaking, so there's a couple of things going on here. Yes, Google, God bless them, they don't make enough money. So they've got to show the ads, and they have the right to do that. It's their system. They can show ads if they want to. And so they are angry that people are blocking the ads, which, look, if you are a content creator on YouTube, the main way you make money is with ads. So every time an ad is blocked, the content creator doesn't make money, and that person may give up YouTube, and that's the thing really Google doesn't want to have happen. So what they want to do is block the ad blockers. The problem with that is people get really annoyed. And I don't think most people are annoyed at the pre-run ads. They're mad at the interstitial ads.
Right. I was watching a 12-minute video yesterday on the Star Beast, and like every minute there were 4 ads.
Yep.
And some of them are unskippable.
Yep.
And then then an ad comes up for YouTube Red. Do you want to watch this video with no ads? Buy YouTube Red.
Yep. So yes, and so we understand that. But what's happening is it's a leapfrog thing going on right now. Right now, uBlock Origin will block YouTube ads, and it still worked as of 2:00 this morning. Beyond that, I won't say, but as of 2:00 this morning, it was working. There's also a company that's working on a way to speed up ads. So the ad runs at 16 times the normal speed, and then goes back to normal speed for the regular program. In addition, they're now working on a way that not only will run at 16 times normal speed, but it will also push the skip button if one appears. So we're seeing relief coming, but it's not here yet.
I don't mind watching relevant ads.
Right.
But
almost none of them are.
Right. And there seem to be so few advertisers that advertise on YouTube or what. We use YouTube TV for our television service.
Yep.
There's so few advertisers. Every break is the same ad.
I hate that.
So I'll watch it once, but the next 16 times I don't need to watch it.
That's right. That's right.
The one thing I hate, especially on TV, you're watching a program, say it's an hour-long show, and they'll do a few commercial breaks, for their say first 35 minutes.
With few commercials.
Then after that, because it's coming to the close of this program,
every 10 minutes, every 6
10 minutes, you're lucky if it hits 10 minutes that they're not doing a 5-minute break for all these fudging ads.
Yep. No, but that's the deal. That's the deal that's going on right now, Bill, with YouTube ads.
What do you think about the pie hole? Is that going to block the ads effectively?
Well, yes and no. We're a little unsure right now. Pi hole. Well, Pi hole is you set up a Raspberry Pi in between your router and your network, and it can do all kinds of things. One of which is block ads. The problem is the way that YouTube notices that you've blocked ads. Some of them Pi hole gets around, and some of them it does not. Right now.
And then a lot of the channels are doing native ads, where the host of the channel starts reading an ad in the middle of the whatever show it is, and so that's going to be something that's going to be virtually impossible to block.
Well, except for Sponsor Block.
Yeah.
There's a program called Sponsor Block. It's an add-on, and what it does is, as people watch a video, they can say, "Oh, one of those built-in ads, those native ads, starts here and ends here." And when enough people say that, Sponsor Block will skip the ad, the internal ad, just skip right over it.
Nice.
What do you think about FreeTube?
I'm sorry. What do I think about what?
FreeTube. It's
I haven't played much with it.
Linux that says it'll block the ads for you.
I haven't had a chance to play much with it, frankly.
Be careful Googling that.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I've not had a chance to play with FreeTube, I'm afraid.
But they say Firefox, you can still block the ads from Firefox because it's not based on Chromium.
Well, partly because Google is the largest advertiser, so they know all of the ads are theirs. So in Google Chrome, they can block the blockers because they know the ads are supposed to be there because they put the ad in the network.
Mm-hmm. And then now we're seeing other things, which is that there are people who are saying, and I have not researched this myself, but there are people who are saying that when you are delivered a YouTube video from In Firefox, you see it at a lower quality, and it slows down delivery. And again, that's just rumor. I have not actually seen it myself.
Actually, I have seen on YouTube TV that it says my browser does not support the higher quality, the 1080, and they'll be delivered at a lower quality. Maybe that's because I'm using Firefox.
Maybe that's why. Like I said, I haven't done it myself, but if you're seeing it, then yeah, absolutely. But I'm not sure where this is going to end up yet, but we're in the middle of it. So I would say hang out a little while and see where we go. Right now, uBlock Origin does block ads, both pre, post, and interstitial. As to how long that will continue, I do not know.
Okay, thank you very much for the information.
Yep, thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, one of the things is that it works also a lot like when you go to a website and it says, we see you have an ad blocker. Well, that's a JavaScript thing that figures out that it's not getting the response it wants. And what uBlock Origin is trying to do is give that response.
Looks like Ghostery is also blocking YouTube ads.
Nice.
I like that little ghost icon.
Yeah.
That's one I use.
Ghostery is very good. uBlock Origin is very good. There are several that are good. Those are the two I'm most familiar with. I've been using uBlock Origin forever. Thank you. And I would suggest that you have a little patience. We'll get there in the end, but right now, who knows where we all stand. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Ray from Rochester, New York. Hi, Ray. What's up?
Hi, Nick. I'm having a minor problem with my Bluetooth on my Acer Chromebook. When I power up the Chromebook, when I sign in, after a couple of seconds, it comes on automatically. And I don't use Bluetooth, so I turned it off. But I don't know whether I've read that it doesn't really use that much battery power, but it's annoying to have Bluetooth coming on without me doing it. And I was wondering if you knew anything that I could do about it.
Well, first, okay, in a Chromebook, at the bottom right, you should be able to click on the bar there where the battery is.
Yeah.
And turn off Bluetooth, but you're saying it turns itself on again.
Yeah. I even tried restarting it, and it comes on after I restart it. So I kind of have to remember to turn it off when I sign into the Chromebook, or otherwise it's on, and I'm not using it. So I think I filed a bug report a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't heard anything back from.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. Do you have a specific set of devices that you once used, Bluetooth devices that you connected to that Chromebook?
No, I've never used Bluetooth.
Okay.
I was reading online somewhere about this problem with Android devices, and they suggested you go through your apps to see if any of those were setting off or turning on Bluetooth. But I didn't know if that would apply to the Chromebook or not.
Well, yeah, it was the next thing I was going to say. It may be that some program that you have in the system that's running in the background is attempting to connect to something. So Chromebooks, any modern Chromebook, and that's the last 3 or 4 years, will run Android apps. So if you have an Android app in your phone, on your Chromebook that wants Bluetooth, it may be turning on Bluetooth itself. And that's just detective work. You just got to go through all of them and figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a recent problem, and I thought it was related maybe to an update because I didn't have the problem, like 3 months ago.
Right. But it may be that you installed some app or an app updated.
And a lot of times apps use Bluetooth as a tracking method.
Right.
Oh, okay. So I have to do my detective work then.
Yeah, I'm afraid you do. I'm sorry.
There should be. Isn't there a way to see what apps are using Bluetooth?
That's a good question. I don't know that.
Let me Google that.
That's a good question.
I know. Well, they do for power. What's using the most power? There's a privacy setting in Chrome, isn't there? So you can see what services have been granted. So then you can see what Bluetooth services.
Isn't there a way also of going into the apps that are installed, like Bluetooth, turning on or flushing the cache and stopping the service? If I remember correctly.
On a Chromebook?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that, but
I thought there was. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I will check that out. I just don't have I'm not on a Chromebook right now. But I will. Is it connecting? Is it by any chance? Oh, ha. Is it by any chance that you are connected to your phone through your Google account?
You mean? I'm not sure what you mean exactly.
Tethered?
Well, not necessarily,
no.
but if you're logged into your Chromebook with the same Google account that you log into your phone with, there may be some application that is saying, "Oh, I have to connect to the phone to check things," like Voice, Google Voice, or something else, and it will then turn on Bluetooth so that it can make that connection. And the way you can test that, at least, is to log on as guest rather than as yourself.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll
if
try
Bluetooth doesn't come up, then you know where the problem lies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good idea. I'll try that.
Yeah, give that a try. Let us know.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah. Well, it's one of the problems we've had with Bluetooth forever. It's an inexpensive, not to say cheap, way to connect two devices. And because it's cheap, there aren't a lot of bells and whistles along with it. So, for example, on many computers, you get a light that says your Wi-Fi is working. Well, there isn't one
for Bluetooth.
There's very few places you can go and say, what's the speed of my Bluetooth? What devices are connected to my Bluetooth?
You have to have other apps now, like
right.
My hearing aids connect to my phone.
Right.
I have to go into the app for the hearing aids to see it'll tell me, oh yeah, it's connected, and here's your volume, and you can change it and all doing that stuff.
Right.
But like you say, on the phone, actually, to look at the face of or the top of the bar, there is no indication.
Right. You can go into settings and see that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do that on a Chromebook, and it's harder to do that on a Windows or Linux or Mac machine. They just don't.
Yeah.
They don't bother with that for some reason.
Yeah, because it's.
So.
Well, give it time, because you never know. Because look at how much stuff has changed on computers. Back in the day, we used to have serial ports and parallel ports and mouse key ports and keyboard ports. They've all gone away with them. There's just USB now. Everything's done through USB. So, like anything else, give it time. It'll change.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. We'll put you on the air to chat with us. But in the meantime, we'll see you on the other side.
computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. Tsunami warnings are in effect across the Pacific after a major earthquake struck the Philippines Saturday. The U.S. Geological Survey put the preliminary magnitude at 7.6. The earthquake struck near the island of Mindanao late Saturday night local time. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says waves up to 3 feet could hit parts of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Japan. Renewed fighting in Gaza is stretching into a second day as the war between Israel and Hamas closes in on the 2-month mark. Early on Saturday, a day after a week-long ceasefire ended, rocket sirens wailed in Israeli communities outside Gaza, but there were no reports of serious damage or casualties. The Israeli military says in the last 24 hours they have hit 400 militant targets and killed an unspecified number of Hamas militants. A federal appeals court is rejecting former President Trump's bid to dismiss civil lawsuits seeking to hold him accountable for the U.S. Capitol riot. The 3-judge panel denied Trump's argument he's immune to civil claims because he was president at the time. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Fall is a great time to clean and, if needed, winterize your rain barrel. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Start by draining the barrel of any remaining water. Then disconnect the rain barrel from the downspout. Lay the barrel on its side and spray rinse the interior. A long-handled brush will help you dislodge any debris or algae. If needed, use a vinegar and water solution, scrub to remove stubborn debris, then rinse with clear water. Reattach the rain barrel if gardening in mild climates. Those in colder areas need to remove and store their barrels for winter. Cap off the opening left when removing a downspout diverter. Or connect an extender to shorten downspouts to direct water away from your home's foundation. Remove overflow hoses and spigots to reduce the risk of damage. Store the barrel in a shed or garage or covered and upside down in a sheltered outdoor location. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by Hedonist Artisan Chocolates. Hedonist offers gift boxes, business gifts, party platters, wedding favors, and chocolate tasting events. The company ships chocolate throughout the United States. Hedonist Artisan Chocolates Kitchen and Shop is located at 674 South Avenue in Rochester's South Wedge neighborhood. You can also find them online at www.hedonistchocolates.com.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by Rock Holiday Village, December 1st through 23rd at Martin Luther King Jr. Park in downtown Rochester. This annual family event takes place over 17 select days and includes visits with Santa, kids' crafts, pop-up restaurants and a bar, food trucks, weekend creative classes for all ages, and more. For more information, including a list of activities, hours, parking information, and more, you may visit rockholidayvillage.com. Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
An overcast Saturday ahead for Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes, with a few scattered showers. The high temperature in the upper 40s, with the breeze coming in out of the north. And we'll find a cloudy sky going into your Saturday night as well. There'll be a few showers around during the course of the evening. The overnight low temperature near 40. On Sunday, look for rain to develop as we work our way through the afternoon. The breeze comes in out of the northeast. We'll find high temperatures into the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got sort of a rain mist out there at 42 degrees at the airport and 42 degrees here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Jake Longwell, hoping you can stay up late for an hour of the best in classic and contemporary jazz. It's the Jazz Scene, Sunday mornings at 1 a.m. on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites. All right, so we had a story of Google deleting people's data on purpose. Now we have a story of Google losing people's data accidentally. Did Google Drive lose some people's data? That's the question swirling around the internet right now as Google announces it's investigating, quote, sync issues, end quote, for Google Drive for desktop. This is for Google Drive for desktop, not just Google Drive out in the cloud. This is the Google Drive on your desktop. On Monday, in a trending post on Google Drive, a user claimed that months of Drive data suddenly disappeared and their files went back to a state from May 2023. Other users chimed in with the same issue, the worst of which says, "This is going to cause me major issues if I cannot get my files back. It's all my work for the last 1 to 2 years. All my business work, all my personal files, everything just vanished. Must be hundreds of files suddenly gone. Back up." Google has a post up on the Google Drive help forums more or less acknowledging the issue. The post, titled Drive for Desktop, version 84.0.0.0 to 84.0.4.0 sync issue, says, "We're investigating reports of an issue impacting a limited subset of Drive for Desktop users and will follow up with more updates." Google adds an ominous list of things not to do in the meantime, like don't disconnect your account, don't delete or move data files or the app folder. If you have room on your hard drive, Google recommends making a copy of the app data folder. And if you don't have room on your hard drive, get a thumb drive. They're cheap. These instructions sound like they're aimed... It's Uncle Dave. I'm going to be Uncle Nicky now. Those instructions sound like they're aimed at preserving whatever possible file cache would exist on your computer. The description of this being a sync issue doesn't really make a ton of sense, since no matter what, the Google Drive web interface should show all your files and let you download them from the web. If the problem is uploading, you should still have all your local files. What really complicates the issue in terms of solving the problem and trying to parse through a user complaint is that the Drive for Desktop has two totally different modes of operation that could be causing issues. One is the traditional mirroring mode that works like Dropbox, where files on your hard drive get uploaded to the cloud, downloaded to all of your other devices, and stay on your computer. It's hard to imagine losing files in this mode, since at the end of the day, they are still files on your hard drive. Mirroring isn't the default, though. In recent years, the default switched to file stream, where most files aren't ever actually stored on your computer at all, and instead only get fancy shortcuts to files that are exclusively in the cloud. You're expected to have an always-on internet connection, and when you try to open a cloud file link, the actual data are quickly streamed to your device so applications can access them. FileStream keeps a cache of recently and frequently used files, but other than those, Drive will actively remove files from your computer. This is particularly useful on devices with limited storage like Chromebooks, which is why they do it.
Yeah.
That's all to say that if Google lost data and you were in file stream mode, there's a good chance you don't actually have your files anymore. Dropbox and Drive mirror mode keep local copies of the file on your computer, but FileStream often does not. Is FileStream deleting or moving files without uploading them first? That would be rough. For a service that needs to be rock-solid, reliable, Drive has had a rough year. Exacerbating the problem is, of course, the fact that with paid additional storage available through Google One personal storage and Google Workspace business accounts, many people are paying per month to use Drive. So how are your data holding up? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, toll-free 800-790-0415.
Yeah, so many people misunderstand what cloud sync files do. You know, they synchronize. If you delete it from your computer, it's probably going to delete it from the cloud.
Right.
And they think they're backing up by copying it to the cloud and then deleting it from their computer. That's not a backup.
Yeah. Backup.
You want to have 2 copies at minimum.
Right. And like I said, you know, having backups is super essential, but having multiple backups in multiple places is even more essential. If you have backed up to the cloud, that is good. But if you have backed up to the cloud and a thumb drive, that is better, or another hard drive on your network. Like I said, I have multiple Raspberry Pis. I have multiple online storage spaces. I use all of them. I am entirely paranoid, and I fully believe you cannot have enough backups. So, you know, I just keep preaching it.
Well, like I said, right now I'm dealing with the computer that dumped on me. And it's like, no big deal. I'm not worried. I did not lose one document. I did not lose any emails or any photos because they don't reside there. They reside up in the cloud. So the only thing I lost on that computer were programs, which I'm keep
but
a
that's
list.
That's different because
but
you
I
still
can
don't have a backup. Do you have a backup of the data that are in the cloud?
Yep.
Get a
Yes,
second copy of that. That's what's important. That's what we're talking about.
When I back up, it goes to, because I do it on different days. My machine always is busy at night. I'm sleeping.
You're right.
So
Me too.
I have it set, no lie, for at least 5 out of the 7 days. It's backing up my stuff to different parts and my wife's to 2 different locations on 2 different days, because we lost all those photos out of her. And that was thousands of photos that she went out there and worked on these headstones that was, gone. She just had to redo them. So now, to cover my butt, she's got them on her machine, but they are now in plenty of different other
that's
places.
What we're telling people. It's multiple backups in multiple places.
And check every now and then. We had a customer
Yeah.
bring the machine
Right.
in this week to copy up to a new computer. I looked at her backup, and it's 2 weeks old.
Yep.
So for 2 weeks, the computer's been saying there's no backup.
Yeah, because you can always go in there and say, all right, I want to restore this file. Because you can look into the file and say, all right, restore that one. And have it put it on your desktop. And if you see it, well, then you know your backups are working.
Yep, exactly right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Rich from Irondequoit, New York. What's up, Rich?
Hello, gentlemen, on a gloomy Saturday afternoon.
It is Rochester out there, isn't it?
Who walked in?
Yes, it is. I do have to make one point to your last conversation to use your Soundbytes thumb drive to back up on.
There you go. That's exactly right. Our beautiful Soundbytes thumb drives.
My question this week is for my Chrome Flex OS software. I use that and do all my stuff through Google and things like that. I can use it and print to a printer, but I can't use it to do a scan from that same printer. Now, I have gone into the spot where it says to search for the scanner, and it just comes up with nothing. But the printer itself is working fine. There's no problems. It sees the printer, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
Is there something I'm missing?
Probably the drivers.
It's a different driver. That's
Yeah.
part of the problem right there. But one of the things, what make of scanner is it?
It's a HP 4500 printer.
You win.
It's an all-in-one, so yeah, you're
Yes.
a little luckier with all-in-ones rather than a scanner alone.
Yep. One of the things you can do is download the Android app from HP for that scanner
Oh, okay.
and
All
scan
right, I
from
see.
the app.
Okay.
That's the easiest solution.
Yeah.
Okay. HP Android app.
Yeah, there's an Android app for HP all-in-one computers or scanners
for
or,
many printer companies. That's
Yeah,
how you
so-
print. You'd print from your phone.
Right. Or you'd scan to your phone.
Right.
So
Now, what about scanning to the computer I'm using?
well, it's a Chromebook, right?
It's
Chrome OS.
Chrome OS that I'm using in an older computer. Yes.
Right. If it will do Android apps, then you would load the Android app to that device. If not, then you need to go to HP's website and download the Linux driver for that specific model
Okay.
and install that, because Chrome OS Flex is essentially Linux under the hood.
Okay. All right, so I see a fix. Like I said, the printer works fine. It's just the scanning part of it that it won't
Right.
recognize it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
We used to have a lot of trouble with those all-in-ones printing over network. Printing over the network worked, but scanning never did. You always had to go plug a USB cable into your computer if you wanted to do a scan.
Yep.
Yeah, it is over my network too. Also.
Yep.
Okay.
And part of that also depends on how old the scanner is, the printer is.
Yeah,
If it's
the
very, very old.
4500, I don't know how long I've had it. At least a couple of years.
A couple of years shouldn't be a problem. But some of
Okay.
the very old ones may not do scanning over a network. Simple enough.
Okay.
And is the scanner driver part of CUPS?
The scanner driver is part of CUPS.
Yeah. So CUPS is the common Unix printing system, and that may be what you need to load printer drivers for Unix in Chrome OS.
I see. Okay, I'll play with it some more.
Yep. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's Chrome OS Flex, for those of you who don't know, is essentially turns an old computer into a Chromebook. It's a free operating system you can download from we've got it, I'm sure, linked in our link list somewhere. And you can download it and install it on a very old, any old machine that you don't, we're telling people all the time, go to Linux, but in some cases, the Chrome OS is easier to use.
Especially on older computers that can't take, the latest Windows or Mac.
Right.
Do pretty good with Linux. They would do better with Chrome OS Flex.
Right. The older the machine, the better off you are with Chrome OS Flex because it uses fewer resources and is easier on the system itself. So, if you're a fan of the idea of Chromebooks, then take a look at Chrome OS Flex. Stick it on an old machine and get a few more years out of it. Obviously, it's never going to make the hardware repaired, but it makes the software work. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Terry from Greece, New York. What's up, Terry?
How you doing, guys?
Peachy, how are you?
Good. What is the largest capacity thumb drive you can buy?
I've seen 2 terabyte ones, but they're prohibitively expensive.
So right now I've got like a 128. What's the next level up?
256, 512, 1 gig. 1 terabyte.
Right.
Generally, when they get to that capacity, you're better off with a hard drive.
Right.
Okay.
But I just bought a 10-pack off of Amazon of 256 gig drives, and the only reason I didn't get 512s is because I just needed 256.
Well, I just got a SSD hard drive for $50. I can throw that in what they call a USB enclosure. In other words, the hard drive, you just take the case, you slide the top of the case off, slide the hard drive in, put the case cover back on, and it's got at the end of it a USB. So you just plug it into the side of whether it's the laptop or your hard drive, your computer, and the machine will see it, and you can format it and set up folders for your files.
And the truth is, there's no difference between a thumb drive and an SSD drive. They're essentially the same exact thing, just more capacity in one than the other. Now, the one caveat I will give you is that you should do that data transfer over USB 3, which is much faster than USB 2. So if you're going to buy an enclosure or you're going to buy a thumb drive, make sure it's a USB 3 compatible device.
Yeah, most thumb drives, especially the cheaper ones, are only USB 2, and they are so slow compared to. So
it's like watching paint dry.
Right. Again, mostly you don't matter. You plug it in, you walk away. But still. But yeah, you can get devices, whether it's a thumb drive or an SSD drive, for fairly cheap amount of money in huge quantities, huge capacities rather.
Good.
And like Dave said, you can also buy an enclosure that will, you put it in there and you plug that into the USB port and you're done.
Good. All right, thank you, guys.
Yep. Have fun.
Bye.
Yeah, like I said, and let me just say, if you are the sort of person who buys people stocking stuffers, a 256 gig thumb drive is a lovely little stocking stuffer.
I would say stick with some of the name brands.
Absolutely.
SanDisk.
Because there's a huge problem with fake flash drives on
Chinese-built ones.
Yeah, that actually lie on their capacity and say that they've copied all your data when they haven't.
Right.
One other thing, because we are getting into the Christmas mode right now that I want to talk about just for a second, and I'll get to the caller. Is a number of folks that have been I've been talking to are seeing these ads on Facebook for different product and all that, and they've been trying to order stuff and all that, and then they're not getting the confirmations. That they ordered the product, to come find out, no, it's just a scam.
Yep.
This time of year, you are going to see a lot of those scams. Definitely check your sources out. There will be a lot of ads out there that are just scams. They set stuff up, take your money, and then they are gone.
Yep.
And they're offshore things, so there's not a heck of a lot of stuff they can do.
Right. Be very aware and be very careful of. I wouldn't buy something off a Facebook ad, particularly at this time of year.
Joe?
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do it.
Especially a lot of those are the crappy knockoff companies that they're probably not legitimate to begin with.
Right.
But they paid Facebook, and Facebook happily takes their money.
And we'll show you the ad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Facebook ads are cheap. So I get that.
I'm not sure where it would be.
All right. Our next caller is Joel from Pennsylvania. Are you in Altoona, Joel?
No, I'm in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, formerly for previous 45 years, Pittsburgh, New York.
There you go. You abandoned us, Joel.
Yeah, well, I had to move sometime.
Yeah, it happens.
Anyway, I've been a long-time listener to the show and appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you.
Question for Steve. On my iPhone, in Photos, all my pictures are in library. Is there any way to have the pictures not show in the library after I've moved them to an album?
No. There is a way to not show them at all. There is a hide command where you can hide a photo, and then it shows in a special album called Hidden. That's for those naughty photos you may take.
Sure.
But the point of the library is that library is all of your photos.
Okay. Well, thank you for that answer. I appreciate it, and you guys have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too, Joel.
Bye-bye.
At the very least, we saved you a bunch of fooling around that was just going to frustrate you.
Trying to figure it out, yeah.
We get a lot of people get confused by that, and they'll see a photo in the library and a photo in an album and think it's duplicated, so then they'll delete it from the library because it's duplicated. No, you just deleted it from the album. Yeah. It warns you it's gonna, but you don't pay attention to those warnings.
They don't read.
Right.
Yep.
Click happy.
Well, and that's a large part of it. We don't read and because on the one hand, everybody's trying to keep you safe, so they show you notice after notice after notice after notice. But after a while, we just stop seeing them.
Totally oblivious.
It's the problem with advertising. People don't watch ads.
No.
They turn away. They block it out. They tune it out. And advertisers
go quick, make a pit stop.
They make a little pit stop and whatever it is they're going to do, and the ad doesn't get seen. And the same thing is true of warnings. We just don't pay attention. We just want to move on, so we just click OK or whatever we click. And then, well, I've said this story before. We had a guy who was very upset with his Chromebook because he couldn't see any websites. I said, well, you can't see any websites. So he brought his Chromebook to a meeting. We looked at it. He had an entire screen full of toolbars.
No.
He had literally a half an inch space at the bottom of his screen where the screen was.
Seriously?
Because every time he went somewhere, it said, do you want to install this toolbar? He said yes. So I started asking him, do you use this? I don't know what that is. We'll delete it. You use this? I have no idea what that is. I will delete it. And we got rid of all of them, and he was much happier. But it's because he just said yes to everything, which is a beautiful way to go through life, not a good way to run your computer.
Well, it's like we said.
Yes to all.
Yes to all.
People, when you're installing, say I want to install AVG.
Yep.
All right. You get that bundle, and, you download the package. As you're going through, it says, do you want to install this? And a lot of folks go, accept, accept, accept. There, right next to it is a decline button. It won't stop the install of installing AVG. It just stops the installing of all this other bloatware that's been added on there because the guy gets paid just a few pennies, but he's including all these packages in his bundle. And he figures, AVG is a very popular one, so a lot of people throw their bloatware on there, and they'll pay the person a few bucks to have that link in there. Because then the odd chance that people just get click happy, they go ahead and install all those things, and then, like you said, you wind up with all these extra toolbars or these other programs, and wonder, how did I get that? I didn't install that.
Yeah, right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so many times people say, well, I didn't install that. Okay, someone using your computer installed that. No one else uses my computer.
And you installed it. There's no third choice here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get that. The other thing is, one of the things you should never do when some rando calls you on the phone, never say the word yes.
Correct.
Never say the word yes.
Would you like to sign up for a $1,000 a month plan?
No. Exactly.
Is this Nick Francesco?
I am he.
Yeah.
Well, I always like.
And I've had one guy. I said, I am he. He said, what? I said, I am he.
He is
and he
who
said,
I
I
am.
need a yes or no answer. I said, oh, in that case, no. And I hung up. I'm sorry. That's how that works.
Even if it
well,
was
I
a
usually
legitimate
always,
person.
they start talking and how can I help you?
Yeah.
And well, how can I help you?
Oh, I'm worse than that. There are times when I will say, who are you and why are you calling me? I'm sorry. I don't know you. I don't know this phone number and I'm not interested. I get very few of those now because I have a Google phone and Google is amazingly good at blocking spam.
On my personal phone, if I don't know the number, I won't answer it.
Yep.
But on the business phone, we kind of have to answer it.
Oh, I get that on the business phone.
Yeah.
But what I love is the call screening on my phone.
Oh, I love that.
Love that.
But before, like you said, but before we had that feature, I'd get a couple of all of a sudden during dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call me, and they say, started in their spiel. I can't say the words over radio because I'd get in a lot of trouble. But I was not, nice to the guy. I says, because you're bothering me in the middle of my dinner time.
That's right.
You are so blah, 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 rude for doing this.
Yep.
I says, go get a life. And I hung up.
I had a really interesting thing the other day. I went to Wegmans to pick up a prescription, and I walk with a cane now, so I parked and had them bring stuff out in the pharmacy. And they put me on hold. Well, Google has a hold feature where once you're on hold, you hit the button and it will ring you when they come off hold. So I got on the phone and the lady and I had like a 10-minute discussion about what was that just happened. I said, Google does this, blah, 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 blah. And we just had a nice little discussion about that. And it meant that I wasn't sitting there listening.
Well, they also have the feature that if you're calling something and it's constantly busy, you can have the Google phone then say, okay, try it, and it'll automatically retry for you. And then when it does make a connection, it comes up on speaker.
Apple added a live voicemail feature in iOS 17, so we're back to answering machine days.
Yep.
That if someone calls and you let it go to voicemail, it will transcribe the voicemail on your screen as they're leaving it. So then you can say, Steve, pick up, and you can pick up.
Yep. Google has that too. It's very useful.
Yep.
It's very useful. All right. That music tells us we are done for another week. I want to thank everybody. Good calls this week. Well, good calls most weeks, I got to say. I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to thank everybody who was listening, everybody in the chat, just everybody in the world. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Thanks all of you. We're done here for another week, but don't despair. We will be back here next week with a whole lot more of the longest running computer show in the known universe. That's Soundbites. Yes, it's Dave Enright, it's Steve Ray, it's Nick Francesco, and it's all of you right here on truly member-supported Jazz 90.1. And let me not forget to thank all of the people who do indeed support us. We'll see you in just 166 hours. Be good to one another.